Great advice.
All right, Chris. Well, this next question comes from Maria. And I love the name Maria. Like I said, Chris, my girlfriend is from Mexico. And like one out of every three of her female family members are named Maria. But they're like technically named Maria, but then they have like different names that everyone in the family calls them, but those names are hard to pronounce. And so I just kind of call them Maria, but then calling them their name that's not really their day-to-day name is awkward. So then I just don't make eye contact and I gravitate to another part of the room. So this question comes from Maria from Dallas, and let's play a little geography as we go around here, Chris, because we're talking about suburbs, and the great city of Denton, Texas would be a nice suburb of Dallas.
Yes. Yep. It's a great place. Been there.
Had a basketball tournament either there or was going to have one there. I can't remember if I ever made it, but yeah, Denton, just north of Dallas. So Maria, she has a client that wants to dominate their geographic market in impression share. In their eyes, if I fall below 90% impression share for the month, I have failed at my job. There are months when I cannot reach 90% impression share. Is there anything else that I can try or test to help my client dominate their market? They have an unlimited budget. Chris, I'm interested in your answer, but I have a dirty agency hack job for Maria if it comes to that.
Yeah. So, okay, Maria, I have two things to share. Number one is let's talk about search impression share and how it's such a arbitrary number to consider success or failure, because in order to talk about, I know it's ridiculous. So maybe she can communicate this to them. I'll say it to her. Maybe she can,
because if they're asking about, they're not rational.
Yeah, that's true. But search impression share is the measurement of how many searches you show up for on Google that you could have showed up for, that your keywords qualify for. Okay. Sometimes you don't disqualify only because your keywords don't match. Sometimes you're not relevant. Sometimes you just aren't qualified to show up due to rank, due to your quality score. You might have really high bids in place, and you might have modified broad keywords with 1+. You might have frog grooming store, and the only word that you have is frog. Very common search, frog grooming. So frog would match to a lot of things. Okay. So if you have a 50% search impression share, the number of searches that you miss is probably directly related to the fact that there's a lot of searches about frog, but not necessarily about grooming. So you don't have a lot of qualified searches there. So you're losing a lot. By pushing your bids up, you're kind of defeating the whole system of relevancy and quality. And it's an endless battle. You'll keep pushing them up and you'll keep getting low click-through rates. You'll keep losing your quality scores, and you'll have to keep bidding higher and higher. You're fighting a losing battle. So that's my thought there. My second one is this. It's very, very simple. Assuming they don't get into the campaign too much and they have normal jobs other than being on your back and annoying the heck out of you, go into the account and cut off like late night stuff or early morning stuff, or maybe tablets, or maybe certain age groups. Trim a few things here and there. I guarantee you could get another 5, 7, 8% using that tactic, and they're not going to notice it. You're probably not getting leads there anyway, and you can shave off a little bit of that and be the hero and say, look, I did it. I reached 95%. But in reality, you just cut off some of that junk that they're not using anyway. So, Jason, what do you think? Am I crazy?
Well, that was basically my point is if you're doing your job, if you're doing everything right, and they just have a stupid hang up about impression share where for some industries, you're never going to get it above like 97% or 99%. It's never going to happen for various reasons. Look at your keywords. That would be my point. Look at your individual keywords, and you might have some broad match modified keywords where if you cut them off, if you pause them, you're still going to show up on all the other, like all the searches they would show up on anyway from other keywords. Yeah. And maybe some of those keywords have a low impression share that's weighing down your impression share. So you might have a keyword that's getting a ton of impressions that has a 65% impression share, and that overall impression share is being dragged down by that high impression keyword with a real low impression share itself. And so what if you just pause that keyword, and then you're still going to show up on the searches you want to show up on anyway that keyword was triggering, but now your overall impression share is going to come up. So I guess our main point is, once you're already doing everything right and everything you can, at a certain point, you just have to look at how you're shooting yourself in the foot with that data, in terms of like having keywords that have very, very low impression shares that are weighing you down overall. And if you can pause those and bump up your overall impression share, but still not miss any good searches because other keywords are going to take their place, that would kind of be our practical advice.